The stars outside the battle window burned red and white, like a storm of fire scattered across the endless dark. Captain Daniel Reeves had seen many wars, but never one like this. The enemy was something unknown, something not human. They came from the far edge of the Orion Belt, fast, silent, and deadly. The ship Valiant shuddered as another plasma wave hit the side. Sparks burst from the ceiling. Men shouted over the alarms. Daniel gripped the edge of the console, his knuckles white. "All power to shields!" "We're not going down here," he yelled, but deep inside he knew they were losing. The alien ships moved like shadows. No heat, no sound, just flashes of light and then destruction. The communications officer screamed, "We lost contact with command." "They're gone!" Daniel's chest tightened. "Then we fight alone," he said softly. The lights flickered again. The main engine roared and then went silent. The ship was dead in space. For a long second, there was only the sound of breathing, the hum of cooling metal, and distant cries of wounded men. Then something strange appeared on the radar, an approaching vessel glowing faintly blue. It wasn't human-made. The crew froze. "Is that one of theirs?" a soldier whispered. Daniel squinted. "No, it's different. Slower, not attacking." Before they could react, a bright blue beam swept through the wreckage. It passed over Daniel's body and everything went white. When he opened his eyes again, he was not on the Valiant. The air felt warm and clean. A soft hum filled the room, and glowing symbols floated gently on the walls. He tried to move, but pain rushed through him like fire. Every muscle screamed. His body was weak, his armor gone. He was lying on a smooth white bed with silver edges, wires connected to his chest. He blinked, trying to see clearly. Then he saw her. She stood beside him, tall, graceful, with skin the color of moonlight and eyes glowing like clear water. Her hair was white, braided down her shoulders, and small lights shimmered in the strands. She wore a smooth suit of silver and blue armor that looked like it was grown, not built. For a moment, he forgot the pain. The alien woman tilted her head slightly, watching him with calm, curious eyes. Then she smiled, a soft, almost human smile. "You are awake," she said in a gentle voice. Her accent was strange but beautiful, each word careful and clear. Daniel tried to speak, but his throat was dry. "Where am I?" "You are safe," she said, her smile widening just a little. "We found you among the ruins. You were hurt, many bones broken, but you live." Her words sank into him like a dream. She moved closer, checking a glowing screen beside his bed. Every motion was soft, almost musical. "Who are you?" he whispered. She looked at him for a long second, as if searching his face. "I am called Lira," she said. "I am your healer." Daniel stared at her. The word healer sounded peaceful, almost sacred, but confusion burned inside him. "Your people attacked us." Lira's eyes darkened. "Not my people," she said quietly. "Not all who live among the stars bring death." He didn't understand. Pain clouded his thoughts. His vision blurred. He wanted to ask more, but his body refused. As the room faded again into darkness, he felt something warm touch his hand. Lira's fingers, soft, cool, glowing faintly, held his hand gently. "You were calling for someone," she said softly. "You said, 'Don't let me go.' So I didn't." Her voice echoed in his mind as he drifted away. When Daniel's eyes closed, a small tear ran down her cheek, glowing blue in the light. For a long time, she stayed beside him, her hand still holding his. The hum of machines surrounded them, but inside the quiet room, it felt like two hearts beating together. One human, one alien, both lost in the same war, and outside, beyond the metal walls of the alien ship, the galaxy burned on. Daniel woke again to the sound of soft humming. It wasn't from machines this time, it was a voice. The same voice he had heard before drifting into sleep. He opened his eyes slowly. The light in the room was dim and blue. Lira was sitting beside him, her fingers tracing glowing symbols on a small tablet. She noticed his eyes and smiled softly. "You wake faster now," she said, her voice calm like water. Daniel tried to sit up, but pain ran through his ribs. "Don't move," she said gently. "Your body still mends." He lay back down. "How long have I been here?" "3 cycles," she said. "In your time, maybe 3 days, 3 days." He had been gone 3 days since the battle. His crew, his ship, maybe all destroyed. The thought hit him hard. "My people," he said quietly. Are there any survivors? Lira paused. Her eyes lowered for a moment. From your ship. None were alive when we found you. Silence filled the room. Daniel's chest tightened. He turned his face away, staring at the shining walls. He had lost everything. After a long moment, Lira spoke softly. Your wounds were deep, but you fought to live. Even when your heart slowed, you did not stop. That is rare among humans, Daniel blinked. You've seen humans before? She nodded slowly. Yes, long ago. Traders, explorers, sometimes soldiers, but you are different. Different how? Her smile returned, gentle but mysterious. You look at me without hate. Daniel's breath caught. Why would I hate you? Because your kind often does, she said, her eyes glowing faintly in the light. They fear what they don't understand. He looked at her again, really looked this time. Her skin shimmered faintly under the glow, like stars trapped beneath glass. The braids in her hair moved when she breathed, tiny lights dancing between the strands. She looked otherworldly but beautiful in a way that made him forget where he was. He finally said, You saved me. I don't think I could ever hate that. Her lips curved into a small smile. For a moment, neither spoke. The hum of machines filled the silence like a quiet song. Then Lira stood and walked to a silver cabinet. She pulled out a vial filled with glowing blue liquid. This will help your bones grow faster, she said, her tone all business now. She connected it to a tube leading to his arm. Daniel winced as the cool fluid entered his veins. It felt like ice and fire together. What is it? Regenerative nanites, she explained. Tiny machines that rebuild cells. We use them for healing, not war. Not war, he repeated softly. But you have weapons. She looked back at him, her expression unreadable. Every world does, Daniel. But not every world wants to use them. He nodded. It was true. Even on Earth, not everyone wanted to fight, but war always found them. After a while, he asked, Lira, if you don't fight, why were you near the battle? Her hands froze for a second. She didn't answer right away. Then she said quietly, because the ones who attacked you are my kind too. Daniel stared at her. What? She looked at him with sorrow in her eyes. They are part of my people, yes. But they follow another path, one of conquest. My family served under their rule once. I chose to heal instead. To save life, not take it. The truth struck Daniel like a pulse through his heart. She had risked everything to save an enemy. You saved me even though I was one of them?
He asked. Yes, she said softly.
Because pain looks the same in every heart. Human or alien, it hurts the same. He didn't know what to say. For a soldier like him, this was strange. He had been trained to see enemies, not souls. But now, lying in that glowing room, he saw something different in her eyes. Something kind, almost fragile. Lira turned away, checking his vitals again. You should rest, she said. Your body needs time. But Daniel shook his head weakly. Lira, why did you stay with me? You could have left me to die. She looked at him again. Her expression softened, almost shy. Because when I found you, she whispered, you reached for my hand. Even when you were broken, you tried to hold on. You didn't want to die alone, so I stayed. The words hit him deeper than he expected. He looked down at his hand, still resting under hers. Her skin was cool and smooth, glowing softly in the dim light. You said something before, he murmured. When I woke up. You said I held your hand all night. Lira smiled again, her eyes gentle. Yes, you did not let go, even in sleep. The silence that followed was warm, almost peaceful. Outside the ship, stars moved slowly across the black sky. For the first time since the war began, Daniel felt safe. He didn't know where he was or what would happen next. But something in Lira's eyes told him he was not alone anymore. And somewhere deep inside, something began to change, a tiny spark that neither human nor alien could explain. When Daniel woke the next time, the room was quieter than before. The steady hum of machines had stopped, replaced by a low, pulsing rhythm that came from somewhere deep inside the walls. The light was softer now, glowing silver blue, and the air felt cooler. He blinked a few times, trying to remember where he was. Then he saw Lira standing by the wide glass window at the far end of the room. Beyond the glass, space stretched endlessly, black and silent, but dotted with hundreds of ships, each glowing faintly in the dark. Are those your people's ships? He asked weakly. She turned her head slightly, her braid shifting over her shoulder. Yes, our fleet stays hidden between the dark waves. Few ever see it. They're beautiful, Daniel said. Lira's expression was unreadable. Beauty can hide danger, she said softly. Those ships are not all healers. Many carry weapons. Daniel tried to sit up, and this time his body obeyed. His strength was returning faster now. Why would healers need weapons? She looked at him. Because peace does not protect itself. Her words hung in the air, heavy and true. Daniel watched the stars move slowly outside. The colors shifted, blue to green, green to violet. Lira, he said after a long moment, you said your people fought among themselves. Why? Lira walked closer, her boots making no sound on the metal floor. Long ago, our kind believed in unity. But some began to think they were superior to all others in the galaxy. They wanted to rule, to conquer. The rest of us wanted balance, understanding. The war divided us, those who heal and those who destroy. And you chose to heal. Yes, her voice dropped. But that choice cost me everything. Daniel frowned. Everything? My home, my family. My right to live among them. Her eyes glimmered faintly, the light reflecting like tiny stars. I escaped when they began taking healers to serve as medics for the army. I could not watch them use our gift for death. Daniel looked at her silently. He saw strength and sadness in her, something rare, something human. Then the door behind her slid open with a hiss. Another alien entered, taller than Lira, wearing dark armor marked with silver symbols. His eyes were colder, sharper. Lira, he said in their language, a deep, echoing voice that Daniel couldn't understand. She answered him quickly, her tone respectful but firm. They exchanged a few tense words. Daniel couldn't catch the meaning, but he could feel the tension in the room rise like static. The armored alien glanced at Daniel, his expression hard. Then he left without another word. When the door closed, Daniel asked, "Who was that?" Lira hesitated. "Commander Sarath. He leads the medical division of our fleet. He does not approve of me saving you." Daniel's pulse quickened. "He knows I'm human?" "Yes, he believes humans are dangerous. He fears you may be a spy." Daniel almost laughed, though there was no humor in it. "I don't even know where I am." Lira's voice softened. "I know, but he doesn't see what I see." "And what do you see?" he asked quietly. Lira looked straight into his eyes. A man who did not give up, even when he had nothing left to fight for. Her words touched something deep inside him. He took a slow breath. "What happens now?" Lira stepped closer to him, lowering her voice. "You must not speak to anyone else. If they learn too much about you, they may remove you. Remove me." Her eyes flickered with fear. They would not call it killing. They would say they were protecting the balance. But it would mean the same thing. Daniel's throat went dry. "Then why keep me alive at all?" "Because I told them you might have information about the battle, about the enemy ships. It was the only reason they let me keep you." He stared at her. "You lied to save me." She looked down, almost shy. "Yes." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The quiet in the room felt alive, like it carried its own heartbeat. Then Lira turned toward the door. "I must go to the upper deck," she said. "They called for a meeting. Stay here. Do not let anyone in." Before leaving, she paused beside his bed. Her hand brushed his arm gently, and he felt warmth spread through his chest. "If I do not return soon," she whispered, "promise me you will not try to leave." "Why?" "Because the truth beyond this room is not what you think." With that, she walked away, her steps fading into silence. Daniel lay back, staring at the ceiling. Her last words echoed in his mind. "The truth beyond this room is not what you think." He looked toward the window again. The stars outside shimmered strangely now, like they were not stars at all, but reflections of something vast and hidden behind them. And deep inside, a quiet unease began to grow. He had survived the war. He had met an alien nurse who saved his life, but now for the first time he began to wonder if he had truly been rescued. Or captured. The silence inside the room grew heavier with each passing minute. Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the dim lights above him. He had no idea how long Lira had been gone. The hum of the ship had changed, faster, louder, like a storm building outside. He looked again at the window. The alien ships outside were moving into formation, forming a giant circle. In the center, something dark floated, almost invisible, except for the faint glow that rippled across its surface. It wasn't a planet or a ship. It looked alive. The door hissed open suddenly. Lira stepped inside, her face pale, her eyes bright with worry. She moved quickly to him. "Daniel," she said, her voice low and trembling. "You must listen carefully. We don't have much time." He stood slowly, pain shooting through his chest. What happened? What did they say? Her hands shook as she spoke. The council knows you are human. They fear you will tell others about this place. They have decided. She swallowed hard. They want to erase you. Daniel froze. Erase me? Like the pilot you told me about? She nodded once, her eyes full of guilt. I tried to stop them. I told them you mean no harm. But Sirath, he convinced them you are dangerous. Daniel clenched his fists. So what now? They'll just wipe me out like I never existed? Lira looked toward the ceiling as if the walls themselves could hear them. Not if we leave before they come. Leave? You mean escape? Yes, her voice steadied. I know the lower decks. There are small craft used for medical missions. One of them can reach the outer field. If we can cross it, your people might find you. Daniel shook his head. Won't they follow us? They will, she said. But I'd rather die running than watch them erase another soul. He stared at her. There was no fear in her eyes, only determination. Why risk your life for me? He asked. Lira took a slow breath. Because when I found you, I felt something I thought was lost in the stars. Compassion. You held my hand even when you were dying. I remembered what it meant to care. Her words struck him deep. For a long moment, neither of them moved. The ship hummed like a heartbeat around them. Then Daniel nodded. All right. Tell me what to do, she smiled faintly. First, we must reach the lower corridor. From there, I can override the locks. She moved to the wall and touched a panel. It flickered and opened to reveal a narrow passage. The light inside was dim and green. Daniel followed her carefully, his steps uneven but steady. The corridor stretched far, filled with the faint scent of metal and ozone. They passed rooms that looked like laboratories. Strange equipment floated in midair, glowing softly. In one room, he saw a tank filled with liquid light. Inside it, a shape moved slowly, a humanoid figure connected to hundreds of wires. He stopped. What is that? Lira's voice was quiet. A mind in sleep. They call it the archive. It holds the memories of our kind. Daniel stared at the glowing figure. You mean, they store their minds here? Yes, it is how they erase us. They take what we are and keep it as data. A copy that never wakes. He shivered. That's not living. No, she said softly. It's not, they continued on. The passage narrowed, leading down a spiral ramp. Faint alarms began to echo in the distance. Red lights flashed along the walls. They've discovered we're missing, Lira whispered. They reached a metal door at the bottom of the ramp. Lira placed her hand on the scanner. Come on, she muttered. The panel glowed, then beeped. The door opened with a slow hiss, revealing a large hangar filled with small silver crafts. But standing near one of them was Commander Sarath. Lira! His voice thundered, cold and powerful. You betray your own kind for a human? Lira stepped forward, her hand raised.
He is not our enemy.
Sarath's eyes blazed blue. Every outsider is an enemy. You know the law, Daniel glanced around. There were guards behind Sarath, their weapons drawn. He looked at Lira. We can't fight them, Lira whispered. Then we run. She pressed a button on her wrist. The lights in the hangar flickered and died. A low rumble filled the air as power surged through the deck. Alarms wailed louder now, echoing across the chamber. Go, she shouted. Daniel grabbed her hand and sprinted toward the nearest craft. Blaster fire flashed through the dark blue beam, slicing past them. One struck the wall, exploding in a shower of sparks. Daniel ducked, pulling Lira down beside him. She hit another button and the small ship's hatch opened. They stumbled inside, breathing hard. Strap in, she said. The engines roared to life, light flooding the cockpit. Through the window, Sarath's face appeared, furious, shouting commands. Guards ran toward them, weapons raised. Hold on, Lira whispered. The ship shot forward with a burst of blue flame, smashing through the hangar shield and out into the cold dark of space. The stars blurred around them. Daniel looked back through the window. Dozens of alien ships were already turning to chase. And far ahead, beyond the field of light, the unknown stretched out like an endless sea. The small craft sped through the black sea of stars. The engines roared softly, a low vibration that shook the seats. Daniel's heart pounded as he looked out the window. Behind them, dozens of glowing ships followed, their blue lights flashing like angry eyes in the dark. Lira's hands moved fast across the control panel. Symbols glowed under her fingers. They're gaining, Daniel said. I know, she answered, voice tight. Their ships are faster, but not braver. The craft dived sharply to the left. The stars streaked into lines of light as the ship slipped through a cloud of glowing dust. Energy beams sliced through the space where they had been moments ago. Daniel gripped the seat. "Where are we going?" "Beyond the border field," Lira said. "If we cross it, their scanners won't follow." "What's on the other side?" She hesitated. "Unknown space. Dangerous, but free." The ship shook violently as another blast hit near them. Sparks flew inside the cockpit. Lira adjusted the controls, her expression calm but fierce. Daniel looked at her, amazed. "You're not even afraid," she smiled faintly. "I learned long ago that fear wastes time." The words made him smile despite the danger. Moments later, the stars ahead began to blur. A strange blue light filled the cockpit. The ship's sensors beeped wildly. Lyra's eyes widened. "We're entering the Veil." "The Veil?" Daniel repeated. "It's a rift between star systems," she explained quickly. "Old space broken by war. No one dares fly through it, except us, right? Except us." The light outside grew stronger. Waves of color rolled past, purple, green, and gold. The ship groaned as the engines strained. Lyra's hands moved faster, stabilizing the craft. Then everything went silent. For a heartbeat, there was no sound, no light, only a deep stillness that felt alive. Daniel turned to Lira. "What just happened?" She checked the screen. "We crossed it. We're out of their range." He exhaled slowly, leaning back in his seat. "We made it," but Lira didn't relax. Her eyes stayed on the glowing console. "Something's wrong. What is it?" "The power cells, they're dying. The field drained them. How long do we have?" "Maybe an hour." Daniel rubbed his face. "Great. We escaped only to run out of power." Lira looked at him quietly. "You could rest. You've been through enough." He shook his head. "No, tell me what we can do." She smiled slightly. "You're stubborn for a human. And you're too calm for someone who just betrayed her people," he said. Her smile faded. "You don't understand. I didn't betray them. I saved what's left of us." Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" Lira stared out at the empty stars. "Our leaders, they plan something terrible. They call it the renewal, a plan to erase all minds they think are dangerous, even our own kind. They want perfect order, no emotion, no weakness." He stared at her in disbelief. "Erase their own people?" "Yes, they believe it will make them pure." Daniel's stomach twisted. "That's madness," she nodded slowly. "That's why I had to leave. You are proof that life is more than control." For a long moment there was silence. Only the hum of the ship and the soft flicker of lights. Then Daniel said softly, "Lira, you risked everything for me. You could have left me behind." She looked at him, her eyes shining faintly in the dark. "Maybe I was never meant to heal only bodies. Maybe I was meant to heal something else." The warmth in her voice made him forget the cold emptiness outside. But then the ship jolted violently. Lights flickered. A warning beep filled the air. "What now?" Daniel asked. Lira checked the screen. "Something's pulling us, gravity field." He looked out the window. A massive shape was forming ahead, half hidden in the light. It wasn't a planet. It looked like a colossal ring floating in space, glowing faintly with white symbols. "What is that?" he whispered. Lyra's eyes widened. "An ancient station. From before our wars, it's still active." The ship trembled as it was drawn toward the ring. "The pull was too strong. Can you break free?" He shouted. "No!" she said, gripping the controls. "Hold on." The craft spun, light flashing all around. The stars vanished. A second later, everything went white. When Daniel opened his eyes again, the noise was gone. The ship floated inside a vast, silent chamber surrounded by walls of silver and glass. Strange lights danced along the surfaces, forming symbols he didn't understand. Lira looked around in awe. "This place, it's alive," he followed her gaze. The walls pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. A deep hum echoed from somewhere far below. Daniel whispered, "Where are we?" Lyra's voice was soft and filled with wonder. "We are inside something older than any world we know. This place was built by the first travelers, the ones who connected the stars." He stared at her. "And now we're trapped in it." Lira touched the wall gently. The lights moved under her hand, glowing brighter. "No," she said softly. "It wants to show us something." The wall shifted. In front of them, a holographic image appeared. Millions of stars connected by glowing lines. And at the center of it all, Earth. Daniel's breath caught. That's my home. Lira turned to him. Maybe this is why you were saved. The universe is trying to remember what it forgot. Her words hung in the air like light itself. The walls around them glowed like living glass. The image of the stars still floated in front of Daniel and Lira, billions of points connected by soft golden lines. At the center, Earth shimmered like a blue pearl, its oceans shining faintly in the cosmic map. Daniel couldn't look away. That's home. That's where it all began. Lyra's fingers hovered near the light, tracing one of the glowing lines. This map, she said softly, was made by the first travelers. They walked between stars long before our wars began. They left messages in the light for those who would come after. Daniel looked at her. Messages? For who? For all who forgot that the stars were once united, she said. For those who needed to remember. A pulse of light ran through the walls. The entire chamber came alive, humming like a giant heartbeat. The hologram changed. Now it showed cities burning, ships fighting, worlds falling into darkness, and then slowly one small light rising again. Lira whispered, "The wars." It recorded everything. The destruction, the pain, and hope. Daniel stepped closer. Hope? The map zoomed in again, but onto Earth. Tiny words appeared beside it, glowing softly. Lira translated slowly, her voice trembling. When memory fades, find the hand that still remembers warmth. She looked at him. Do you see? The message isn't just for my people. It's for all of us. It means connection is what saves us, not power. Daniel smiled faintly. A hand that remembers warmth. He looked down at her hand, still holding his. Maybe it meant this. Lira smiled, a real bright smile that lit her face. Maybe. Then the walls shook violently. A deep alarm echoed through the chamber. The ship's AI voice spoke in Lyra's language, fast and sharp. She turned pale. They found us, she said. Sereth's fleet. They followed the signal from our jump. Daniel's heart sank. Can we run? She shook her head. No, the engines are dead. But maybe the station can protect us. How? She touched the glowing panel again. The chamber's light shifted to crimson. The hologram of the stars vanished, replaced by a massive energy field forming outside the window. This place isn't just a memory, she said. It's alive and a guardian. It can hide us or destroy them. Daniel stared at her. You mean it's a weapon? Lira hesitated. No, a choice. The light outside grew stronger. Sereth's ships surrounded the ancient ring, firing beams of blue plasma, but each blast vanished before touching the surface. The ring absorbed the energy like rain into an ocean, Daniel said quietly. It's defending itself. Lira looked up at the ceiling, her eyes shining. It's defending life. The energy built higher, brighter, until everything outside became white. Lira turned to him. If I tell it what to do, it will listen. But I must connect to it fully. Daniel frowned. Connect? What does that mean? I must join with its core. My body will live, but my mind will stay here. His heart stopped. You mean, you'll become part of it? She nodded slowly. It's the only way to stop them. No. His voice was sharp. There has to be another way. She smiled sadly. There isn't. But maybe this is how I was meant to heal. Not one person, but everything. He grabbed her hand tightly. Lira, please. She looked into his eyes. Daniel, when I found you, I thought I was saving a life. But you saved mine. You reminded me what kindness means. He couldn't speak. She stepped closer, her forehead almost touching his. Promise me something, she whispered. When you go home, tell them we were not all enemies. His voice broke. I promise. She smiled, tears glimmering like stars on her cheeks. Then remember this moment, she turned toward the core. Her body began to glow, her outline dissolving into threads of light. The walls responded, pulsing, expanding, as if the whole structure breathed with her. Lira, Daniel shouted, her voice echoed softly, calm and warm. Goodbye, Daniel. The chamber erupted in light. Outside, the alien fleet froze in space, caught in a wave of pure energy. One by one, their ships flickered and vanished. Not destroyed, but gone, like shadows washed away by dawn. Then, silence. When Daniel opened his eyes again, the ring was still. The light was fading. Lira was gone. Only the soft hum of the chamber remained, he whispered. You did it. The map reappeared one last time, glowing gently. A single line of light stretched from Earth to the farthest star. And for a moment, Daniel felt her voice in his mind. Gentle, distant, but clear. You held my hand all night. Now let go. A tear rolled down his cheek. He looked out at the stars, brighter than ever before. Somewhere in that light, he knew she was still there, watching, healing, remembering. He turned the ship toward the blue glow of home and whispered, I won't forget. As the engines came alive, the stars opened before him, vast, silent, and full of promise. And for the first time since the war began, Daniel Reeves smiled.